High Commander Vex Thul of the Draconian Imperium stood in the center of his flagship's interrogation chamber, his scaled features twisted into what his species considered an intimidating expression. Before him, secured in what appeared to be primitive restraints, sat Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Webb of the Terran Defense Force. The human had been captured during a routine patrol along the neutral zone, or so the Draconians believed. In reality, Webb had volunteered for this mission, knowing that his capture would provide valuable intelligence about Draconian military capabilities, while demonstrating something important about human defensive technology. "Human," Vex Thul began, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had interrogated hundreds of prisoners from dozens of species. "You will provide us with the access codes to your ship's navigation computer, or you will experience the full might of Draconian persuasion techniques." Webb looked up at his captors with mild interest. The interrogation chamber was designed to intimidate harsh lighting, imposing alien architecture, and the constant hum of what was obviously high-energy weapons systems. Most species would be terrified. "High Commander," Webb replied politely, "I'm afraid I can't do that. Those codes are classified under Terran military regulations." Vex Thul's four eyes narrowed dangerously. "Perhaps you do not understand your situation, human. Your species is new to galactic affairs. You have not experienced the educational methods that have convinced 43 other species to cooperate with the Imperium." He gestured to Interrogator Kessara, whose cybernetic limbs gleamed with built-in energy weapons. "Kessara, demonstrate the effectiveness of our plasma induction array. Minimum setting, we want the human conscious for questioning." The interrogator's arm transformed into a sleek energy cannon, its power cells charging with an ominous whine. Every species the Draconians had encountered showed immediate fear at this display. Plasma weapons were universally devastating, capable of burning through most known armor and causing excruciating pain, even at minimum settings. Webb watched the weapon charge with what appeared to be professional curiosity. "Interesting design," he commented. "Plasma containment using magnetic bottle technology? Very efficient. What's your effective range?" Vex Thul blinked in confusion. The human was asking technical questions about the weapon that was about to be used on him. "You seem remarkably calm for someone facing imminent agony." "Oh, I've seen the intelligence reports on Draconian plasma weapons," Webb replied conversationally. "Impressive technology. About equivalent to what we were using 20 years ago." Before Vex Thul could process this statement, Interrogator Kessara fired. The plasma bolt struck Webb's center mass, a concentrated beam of superheated energy that should have sent him into unconscious shock from the pain. Instead, something impossible happened. The energy dissipated harmlessly across Webb's apparently unprotected torso, creating a brief light show as the plasma was absorbed and dispersed by systems the Draconians couldn't see. More shocking still, the human's response to being shot with a weapon that had broken the will of countless prisoners was to laugh. Not a scream of agony, not a cry for mercy. Genuine, amused laughter. "Sorry," Webb said, wiping tears from his eyes. "It's just that tickled a bit. Haven't felt a plasma discharge that week since basic training." The silence in the interrogation chamber was absolute. Kessara stared at her weapon, running diagnostic checks to ensure it had actually fired. Vex Thul's four eyes were wide, with something approaching disbelief. "Impossible," the High Commander breathed. "No organic being can survive direct plasma exposure without severe trauma." Webb shifted in his restraints, which the Draconians suddenly realized he could probably break whenever he chose to. "High Commander, I think there's been a misunderstanding about human defensive capabilities." He activated what appeared to be a simple wrist communicator. "Personal defense grid online. Standard configuration." The air around Webb shimmered briefly as his defensive systems became visible, a complex array of energy shields, plasma dampeners, and kinetic barriers that operated on principles the Draconians had never encountered. You see, Webb explained as if lecturing a class, humans learned about plasma weapons from our first contact with the Zephyrian Collective about 30 years ago. Naturally, we immediately began developing countermeasures. Interrogator Kessera raised her weapon again, increasing the power setting to maximum. Impossible. No personal defense system could withstand military-grade plasma discharge. Please, feel free to try. Webb invited, his tone genuinely encouraging. I'm always interested in testing our equipment against different weapon configurations. The maximum power plasma bolt struck Webb's defensive grid and was absorbed so completely that not even residual heat reached him. The energy was converted and stored by his personal defense system, actually strengthening his shields. Webb nodded approvingly. Very nice. That was about a 4.7 on the plasma intensity scale. Our training simulators go up to 8.2. Vex Thul found his voice first. Training simulators? You train with weapons more powerful than our military arsenal. Standard procedure, Webb replied matter-of-factly. Human defensive doctrine assumes that any hostile species we encounter will have superior weapons technology. So we prepare for the worst-case scenario and work backward. The implications were staggering. While the Draconians had assumed humans were primitives with basic technology, the reality was that humanity had been preparing for encounters with species like them for decades. But the intelligence reports, Vex Thul protested, indicated that humans possessed only basic energy shields. Webb's smile was genuinely warm. High Commander, you've been observing our civilian vessels and outdated export models. Did you really think we'd advertise our military defensive capabilities to potential enemies? A new voice joined the conversation, crisp, professional, and coming from Webb's communicator, Colonel Webb. This is Admiral Chen aboard the UES Prometheus. Are you ready for extraction? Affirmative, Admiral. I've gathered sufficient intelligence on Draconian interrogation techniques and weapon systems. Webb stood up, the restraints that had appeared to secure him falling away like stage props. High Commander, thank you for the demonstration. Our defense analysts will be very interested in the plasma induction array design. Vex Thul backed away as the human moved freely through what was supposed to be an escape-proof detention facility. You were never actually captured, were you? High Commander, Webb replied, checking his equipment. Colonel Marcus Webb, Terran Defense Intelligence. This was a voluntary reconnaissance mission to assess Draconian military capabilities and demonstrate human defensive technology. The transporter beam that materialized around Webb operated on principles that made Draconian technology look primitive. As he dematerialized, his final words echoed through the interrogation chamber. Gentlemen, when you file your report with the Imperium, please note that what you just witnessed represents our basic personal defense equipment. Our actual military technology is considerably more advanced. The Draconian Imperium's classified report, filed 6 hours later, contained a single recommendation that would reshape their expansion policies: species designation, human, military assessment, unknown capabilities, assume maximum threat level. Recommendation: avoid all hostile contact. Addendum: their soldiers consider our most powerful weapons to be training equipment. The galaxy learned a valuable lesson that day. Never assume that a species' apparent vulnerability represents their actual defensive capability. And never, ever, mistake a human's laughter for weakness. Sometimes they're laughing because they know something you don't.